Dr. Nerenberg's Mind-Body Workout System.
Welcome, my dear brothers and sisters. The topic today is the best way to study for people who have problems concentrating or memorizing. It's my pleasure to present this material to you. These are methods that I haven't used in about 35 years, and I just started using it again last night to acquire some new information myself. And it's very useful for anybody, even if you don't have problems concentrating or memorizing. It's excellent. Now, this is not for somebody who has a photographic memory. Some people just read the material, get it. They certainly don't need this. I'm definitely not in that category, and most people aren't. This method will work for any age, and it'll work for below average intelligence, average, and above average. It'll work for anybody. Wide range of people benefit from it. I used it throughout graduate school and part of my college career. It's a method that does a couple of things. It'll transform you from a passive learner to an active learner. And I can't tell you how important that is. A person reads material, they read it over and over and over again. They don't even know if they know it. They say, I hope I know it. They're walking the test apprehensive, hoping they know it. Well, this method, if a person has to face a test, they know what they know. They say, I know the material. So it gives you total confidence. It reduces test anxiety because you know what you know. You walk in with tremendous confidence. That's how powerful this method is. And it's a type of knowledge that will stay with you for a long, long time. For instance, over 40 years ago, I learned that acetylcholine is a neurohuman in the central nervous system. I haven't used that in the last 35, 40 years since I learned that. But to this day, I still remember some of the things that I learned by the methods that I'm going to show. Now, it certainly helps when you want to learn something, if you have an interest in it, if there's motivation. But some people, and I was blessed in this way, have a passion for learning. They look at it as something sacred. They want to learn these materials, they want to learn about life. And so that helps. Or you're fascinated. Some people just get fascinated by knowledge, intrigued. I have that going for me. I'm probably about above average intelligence. I'm definitely not genius level in IQ, although some people have called me an inspirational genius. Again, I have a lot of inspiration, but I don't consider myself the most brilliant person. But I can put together knowledge through this way where I talk, extremely knowledgeably with this method. But I'm fascinated by it, and if you find meaning in it, and you have a hunger for the knowledge, it gives you the motivation. And I had that. Part of my heritage was to have that attitude towards knowledge. So I had that, whether I was learning statistics or psychophysics or whatever it was. I had this sense of it's a sacred journey to learn. To me, to be a student was a very high station in life. Of course, by the end of my graduate school, I was exhausted with it. To be honest with you, I didn't pick up a book for 2 years. I was so tired of it. But actually, it was only towards the end of my graduate work that I realized a lot of the knowledge wasn't as sacred as I thought. So by the time I found out it wasn't all as sacred as I thought, I'd already learned it all, passed all my coursework. But I've come into other knowledge now that I do find very pertinent to everyday life, where I can help people, help myself, help my children, help my patients, friends, and everybody. So I'm beginning to start, again, I just started last night applying this particular method, which I'm going to share with you some of the things that I learned. Now, the other part you need to know is you want to try to organize your surroundings, which, by the way, I haven't done here. But when I worked on my graduate dissertation, and I was to study and assimilate a lot of material, I had a U-shaped desk that I built out of compressed wood, and I had some books on this side and that side, and I could get to everything. You want to have the good lighting, and you want to be, naturally, your health and being rested is very important. You need a good blood flow to the brain to study and learn. So if a person has health issues like cholesterol building up or plaque and triglycerides, that can interfere with the learning. The blood may have trouble bringing oxygen and nutrients to the brain cells. So certainly you want to be able to live a healthy life. You have to know how to reduce your cholesterol by cutting down high glycemic carbs. There's some natural substances like red rice yeast that can help. B5, taking 300 milligrams 3 times a day. There are various substances of this sort, plant sterols, and ultimately even if you need allopathic medicine such as Lipitor. You don't want the arteries clogging up. You want to have a good flow going in. Fish oil also will help thin out the blood and also help reduce triglycerides, so you don't have a lot of fatty materials running around in your blood vessels. So certainly being able to learn, to study, your brain cells have to be functioning well. The brain cells need the glucose. If you have low blood sugar, it's going to affect the brain. So you have to be able to have a normal, good balance in the blood sugar levels, not too high or too low, but in a normal range. Certainly a person has to be rested. Now, it's important to also never get cold to the knowledge you're trying to learn. So let's say you went to a class and you took notes. You want to at least always spend at least 10 minutes a day. You never want to go a day, if you're a student, of not looking at your material. You don't want to ever get cold to it. It's hard to pick it up. So even on a bad day, you want to get in 10 minutes. When I did my doctoral dissertation, I made a commitment to 10 minutes a day. So I'd sit at my desk, I'd work on it. After 10 minutes, if I was tired of it, I just left. But often that 10 minutes would turn into a couple of hours. Now, a particular issue I had in learning was after about 10 or 15 minutes of concentrating, I'd have to keep getting up, go eat something, go to the bathroom. I kept getting away from my desk. I had that issue to overcome. So I really needed a way to really get myself to learn, because I had this, my brain felt tired after 15 minutes of that kind of real concentration. There's also the issue of mental health. If a person's very nervous or depressed, it's also very hard to then stay focused and concentrate. So a person has to know how to deal with their mental state. They need to be able to, and one of the best ways there, if a person's nervous, they can take 5-HTP, which is a natural compound to help reduce that. If they're depressed, they can take 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams of fish oil 3 times a day. These are some natural approaches to help reduce anxiety or to reduce depression, which will interfere. Certainly, you need a good blood flow, and you need a healthy lifestyle, and exercise will also keep that blood flowing. Now, if the arteries are clogging up, you want to be able to thin the blood so the blood's getting through. You can be taking aspirin, but there are many other substances that will thin it out as well. Fish oil, resveratrol, many other aspects that'll do that. So you just thin it in a natural way. So the whole idea is you got to get blood flowing into the brain. You want to, of course, take care of the external cues. You don't want to be too hot, too cold. You want to make sure there's a good flow of oxygen from the window or whatever. Of course, then it takes discipline. The person has to sit down and say, I'm going to be learning this. And discipline, the key there is you have to have congruence of word and action. A good power thought is, keeping my word is my first priority. Keeping my word is my first priority. So that way, if you're keeping your word, then you can create what looks like discipline, but it's really just keeping your word. People tell me I'm the most disciplined person they know. I said, no, just keep my word. If I tell myself I'm going to do something, and I tell you, I keep to it. If I say I'm going to go work out and for 40 minutes, I'll do it. If I say I'm going to sit down 10 minutes here, I'm going to do it. If I say I'm not going to eat cake today, I'm not going to eat the cake, because I have congruence of word and action. So if I tell myself I'm going to sit down 10 minutes a day to study, I'm going to do it. So a good power thought to repeat every 5 minutes the first day and twice an hour thereafter is keeping my word is my first priority. So if you're a person who feels you lack the discipline to study, that will handle it. And then you tell yourself, you don't say you're going to do something you're not going to do. You set a reasonable goal. You want to set a goal, a structure, have your lighting, your desk, your pen, the layout on the desk. Now, a very important aspect is if you're in class, and this is every student should know the methods I'm going to teach you today. Everybody without exception should know what I'm going to show you. If you're in class, everybody gets up right away and they leave. Don't do that. Take 30 seconds and just say, what were some of the main points I learned? And then you think, well, it was this point, that point. That's what you're going to remember at the end of the day is what you ask, what answer you got to asking that question. What are some of the main things I learned in this class? Don't just run. That gives you the framework later where you can then review your notes or the reading materials, and it'll wrap around that. 30 seconds. What are some of the main things I learned? If you can't even come up with anything, to sit down and take a look at your notes before you leave the class. This is essential. And then you develop the habit of asking, what am I learning? You can apply it to anything in life. What was the main thing in this movie for me? What was the main thing about this experience I had in a relationship or this trip? You then start learning how to abstract out the essentials. And many people get so caught up in the details, they haven't trained themselves to learn what's the most important thing I got out of this. When a class is over, unfortunately for many classes in university, in the 2 years, they don't remember the material, they don't remember they even had the class. So even after a class is over, you say, well, what are the things I want to remember in 10 years for myself? After you took your finals, you took your exams, you gave the professor what he needed to know. You said, well, what do I want to remember from this? Now that I've devoted myself, you write down 2 or 3 points. You learn how to abstract out what really matters. So we're going to go from passive learners to active learners. I'm going to show you the method to do this. I'm actually going to demonstrate me learning in front of you, new materials, which I only started doing again last night. And the beauty of the method, again, is you know what you know. It's not like reading materials over here and you hope you remember it. No. You know because you're going to go through the program over and over again until you get it without a mistake. You feel so confident when you take the test. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start going into this. And remember I mentioned to you acetylcholine is a neurohuman, the central nervous system. I remember it all these years. So the way you would do it, the way I would originally program it, is I would go on a card. You take index cards and write. I would write something like this. Acetylcholine is a blank in the central nervous system. And the answer would be, on the other side, 1, neurohumor. Now it was such a dense piece of knowledge that the next thing I would go, acetylcholine is a neurohumor in the blank nervous system. And number 2 would be central. And then I would go, acetylcholine is a blank is a neurohumor in the central nervous system. The answer would be acetylcholine. So after I do, before I go on the next card, I look, acetylcholine is a blank in the central nervous system, and I go, oh, neurohumor. I say neurohumor. Acetylcholine is a neurohumor in the blank nervous system, central. Ah, got it, central. And blank is a neurohumor in the central nervous system, acetylcholine. Got it. Went through it, I go to the next card. What have I just done? I became active. I was writing it down. I didn't buy these cards already programmed. It's a variation of program learning that I'm teaching you here. I programmed that. I was writing. I'm actively writing it down. And I penetrated a very thick piece of knowledge. You have 3 concepts: acetylcholine, neurohumor, and central nervous system. Because you have a peripheral nervous system. You have an autonomic nervous system. So it's 3 things. And there are other neurohumors. So there I have a piece of knowledge that stayed with me. Now, a lot of it won't stay as long as that. Then, after I put other cards, just keep building them up, you go through it till you go through without making one mistake. So I'm going to demonstrate that in some new areas of knowledge right now. So bear with me. It's going to be a little laborious, maybe even a little boring as you watch me take my time writing this stuff down. But this method will work, and I'm going to demonstrate it to you, how it works. I'm going to be learning some new material. This wasn't new. I knew this. But I'm learning new things right now about memory, about learning. But the key was I left 1 blank. I didn't leave a lot of blanks. You can do that as you get a little more advanced with it, but 1 blank for each one, and I had it numbered on the back, and I saw neurohumor, and I went through it, and I got them all right. So I know this one. Of course, I knew it before the class, but we'll learn some new things that I didn't know, and I'm about to now demonstrate live to you, put before you my own fallibility. How well I do with this, we'll see. I'm going to start learning some of these things. Probably the greatest fear provoked by lapse of memory is that of Alzheimer's disease. So we go. Biggest fear of memory loss is blank disease, Alzheimer's. It's especially you start hitting 60, 70, 80, you forgot where you put the keys or whatever. Am I getting Alzheimer's? People get really frightened by it. So the biggest fear is Alzheimer's. So I wrote that down. It's important to realize that most memory lapses have nothing to do with Alzheimer's disease. It's good to know. People have come to expect that as they age, the ability to remember will begin to deteriorate. And it's not necessarily true. This is not necessarily true. Occasionally, memory lapses, such as misplacing car keys or forgetting something at the grocery, are a natural, normal part of life at virtually any age. Now, with proper diet, nutrition, and memory use, the memory should remain. So now here's we go here. Number 2, I'm going to put down with proper diet. I'm going to underline diet, even though I'm not putting a blank there. Nutrition. And a very important one is memory use. Leads to good prognosis. So I'm rephrasing it. You can put it down exactly the words there, rephrased. So it's memory use. So if you don't use it, you lose it. So memory use. So here we go. With proper diet, nutrition, and memory use leads to good prognosis. So memory use is one of the ways to keep your memory sharp and to reduce the probability you're even going to get Alzheimer's. Now, here we go here. So number 3. One reason many people suffer from memory loss is insufficient supply of necessary nutrients, especially the B vitamins and amino acids to the brain. So we go lack of blank vitamins can lead to lapses of memory. So it's B vitamins. And the other ones, 4, lack of amino acids can lead to memory lapses. Number 4 is amino acids. So I'm up to 4 things I want to remember over here so far. Now, to understand this, the brain is surrounded by a protective envelope known as the blood-brain barrier, which allows only certain substances to pass from the bloodstream into the brain. If the blood is thick with cholesterol and triglycerides, the amount of nutrient-rich blood that can pass through the blood-brain barrier decreases. Over time, this results in the brain becoming malnourished. So the blood-brain barrier, so I'm going to write that down. The brain is surrounded. Brain has blood-brain barrier. So I go number 5, blood-brain barrier. So there's a blood-brain barrier. For instance, acetyl L-Carnitine, which is one of the ones that's known to really pass. There are many forms of L-Carnitine. Propyl Carnitine, L-Carnitine, acetyl L-Carnitine. Acetyl L-Carnitine is known to really pass that blood-brain barrier more readily than the other types of L-Carnitine, a very important amino acid. So a very good thing for your brain is acetyl L-Carnitine. So that I knew about, the acetyl L-Carnitine. It's not in this article. But there's a blood-brain barrier. So it's an important term to know. And then to the extent you have cholesterol and triglycerides, it blocks it. It makes the barrier thicker. Your brain gets malnourished. Now, 6. Oh, I put it on the wrong side here. Okay, 6. The function of the brain depends upon substances called neurotransmitters. Brain depends on neurotransmitters. All right. So now I finished this card. There's no more room on it. So I go, the biggest fear of many of memory lapse has to do with Alzheimer's disease. Right? Got it. So if you're not sure, you can look, but I knew I got it. With proper diet, nutrition, and memory use leads to a good prognosis. Memory use. Yeah. 3, lack of blank vitamins can lead to lapses of memory. It's the B vitamins. Of course, I know I got that. Lack of amino acids can lead to lapses of memory. I know I got it, even have to look. Amino acids. The brain You have here that the brain has a blood-brain barrier, and the brain depends on neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters, I knew what they were. They're chemical substances such as acetylcholine, dopamine that help bridge the synapse between one neuron and another to send neural impulses in terms of electrical, chemical processes. Now I have this knowledge, okay? Now look, I'm going to talk to you about it because I've assimilated it right in front of your eyes. You need to have sufficient B vitamins, like take a B complex. Amino acids, you can take amino acid substances because the brain needs that. Deficiency will interfere with produce memory lapses. And you need substances that can pass the blood-brain barrier that's blocked if you have high cholesterol or triglycerides, and the brain becomes malnourished. And so proper diet, nutrition, and memory use will keep the memory sharp. I'll mention exercise also helps with that. And the biggest fear when people have memory lapses is Alzheimer's. So look at that, right in front of you. I'm almost 69, I haven't used it in a long time. I was hoping I'd be able to do this for you. I can articulate it. It's a part of me where I can use the knowledge right in front of your eyes. It's a miracle. Right in front of your eyes, absorbing this knowledge. This little card, there it was. New knowledge right here, so I'll get some more. Now, you could also use different color cards because sometimes, especially when you go through the stack again, sometimes a little color coding sometimes helps remember. My biggest problem with the cards is going to be reading my writing. I did it very quickly because I didn't want to have you waiting too long. There are numerous other factors involved in deterioration of memory. One of the most important is probably exposure to free radicals. Okay, so we go free radicals can deteriorate memory. Free radicals. Free radicals. Now, alcohol and drug addicts often suffer a great deal of memory loss. So we go there. I'm going to put two blanks in this one, alcoholics and drug addicts, bad prognosis. Memory lapse start going. So alcoholics and drug addicts. Free radicals, now, so I know something about free radicals. Free radicals, they go and they scavenge. They're responsible for the aging of cells. And so what you want to take are antioxidants to balance them out, like resveratrol, garlic, vitamin C, vitamin E. These will help neutralize those free radicals. The free radicals will ravage the cells. When you exercise, just living produces free radicals. If you take an apple and you cut it, after a while the air is exposed, it turns brown. That's the free radicals aging it right there. So what you want to do is then have antioxidants to balance that. Now, allergies, candidiasis, stress, thyroid disorders, and poor circulation to the brain can also be contributing factors. So I'm going to put down here, a lot of people wouldn't know allergies. A lot of people are allergic, say, to milk. Allergies, yeast, a form of candidiasis, stress, and blank disorders can hurt memory. So I put it in my own writing, my own idea. So it's 3 allergies, and then thyroid disorder. Now, blood workup will tell you if you have a thyroid disorder, look at your TSH. If your TSH is too high, that means your pituitary gland is having to compensate for a dysfunctional thyroid, in which case they just give you some thyroxine pill, a little tiny pill, and boom, you're functioning again. You want to keep your thyroid strong. Take some kelp, which has iodine. Take tyrosine, amino acid. Look after your thyroids. Mine went out about 16 years ago. Very common disease, Hashimoto's disease. Boom, an autoimmune disease, you have no thyroid. Fortunately, it's easily correctable through the medication. All right. So somebody might not know. The person might have allergies. You might be having problems memorizing. You might be having an allergy. Your children may have a problem. Could be an allergy. Could be contributing to it. We already talked about hypoglycemia. Low blood sugar can play a role in memory loss as well. Now, then I have over here the nutrients that you can take. So we'll go to number 4. They can take garlic, particularly colored garlic. It's a potent brain cell protector. So you put down garlic is a brain cell protector. Garlic is really one of those superfoods. Garlic, you can take Kiowa garlic capsules, which have no smell, or you can take raw garlic and eat it with something, or you can put it in a toast oven for 20 minutes and takes the sting out, reduces the smell. You can eat many cloves of it. It helps also strengthen the immune system, helps reduce the possibility of cancer, but it's a potent brain cell protector, so protecting your brain cells. Not mentioning it here, but green tea does the same. So you want to be looking after your brain cells. Now they talk about omega-3 fatty acids. Low levels have been associated with impaired brain function. So we go omega-3 fatty acids get from fish oil. So I'm just going to write, I'll put down omega-3 fatty acid complex deficiency impairs memory, can impair memory. So the answer there is 5 omega-3. We've all heard about omega-3. Also, omega-3 reduces triglycerides, so you can't go wrong taking this. It reduces triglycerides, which also can and thicken up the brain barrier, make it more resistant to nutrition getting to the brain. So so if you have a deficiency in omega-3, definitely, you can't go wrong taking it in any case, at least 1,000 milligrams a day. If you take 2,000 or 3,000 milligrams 2 or 3 times a day, that's good for depression, cardiovascular health, and arthritis. So these are some of the things you want to take whether you have a problem with memory or not. Vitamin B complex we already talked about. Here's something that talks about B5 and B6 helps in transformation of amino and acetylcholine to neurotransmitter acetylcholine. So we talked about acetylcholine being necessary. So we're going to write down here B5 and B6. We're going to put down helps in production of acetylcholine. Acetylcholine. So it's 6, B5, and B6. Now, the parathic acid also reduces cholesterol. So, and we know about acetylcholine, it's one of the neurohumors. We already talked about that at the beginning. So, when a nerve impulse is moving along, acetylcholine is released from the dendrites of the axon of one cell, stimulates the dendrites of the other. The nerve impulse is just moving right along. So the brain can do its job. The whole nervous system can do its job. So here we have a card. So here we have, I had to look at it because I couldn't remember what it was. Free radicals can deteriorate memory. The next one, alcoholics and drug addiction leads to a bad prognosis. Yeah, I got that. Blank, yeast, or allergies, yeast, and thyroid disorder can hurt memory. Got it? Garlic is a brain cell protector. Got it? Omega-3 fatty complex deficiency can cause memory problems. Got it? B5, B6 help in the production of acetylcarnitine. Sometimes I get confused acetylcarnitine and acetylcholine. Acetylcholine. All right. So I got these, although I had to look at the first one about the free radicals. I just remember what it was, free radicals. So now if I was to talk to you here, now to show I've absorbed this knowledge, so I'll say to you, you want to be able to keep the neurotransmitters going with B5 and B6, and which is helpful with B6 also helps with water retention. The B5 helps reduce cholesterol. and plus it helps producing of acetylcholine, which helps bridge the synapses in terms of brain function or neural functioning. Now, other aspects that can hurt a person's functioning is if they're a drug addict or an alcoholic, or if they have allergies, if there's yeast infection, or if the thyroid disorder. Thyroid disorder will throw everything off. Even your cholesterol will go up, your triglycerides will go. So it's all tied together. Free radicals, which damage cells and accelerate aging, which can be offset by antioxidants. So I took some knowledge I had, I've added with it, and I think I got everything. I did. I got it all in there, everything in there. All right. So you're seeing me get the knowledge and absorb it. Now I've got 2 cards. Now at some point, when you're ready to take a break, you want to go through all your cards, because by the end of doing this, you can start losing. So you got to go through all the cards so you can get them all correct. Niacin, which is B3, promotes proper circulation to the brain. Promotes good circulation to brain. So we're going on here. 1 is niacin, which is B3. A lot of the B vitamins have names in addition to a number: B3, B6, B12. A lot of them have names. So niacin. So, one thing niacin dilates the blood vessels. As a matter of fact, if you take niacin, a lot of people get a flush in their face. You just feel it tingly all over because it just opens up the blood vessels. It also raises your HDL, your good cholesterol, which helps remove plaque from the arteries. So there's a lot of other benefits. Can't go wrong with taking niacin. I take 750 milligrams slow release just to raise my HDL and lower triglycerides. But it's also helped my brain function. It's all connected. Memory, health, triglycerides, lipid profiles, thyroid, it's all connected. All the bodies are interrelated. These are good protocols to take for just to be healthy and alive. Now, 2, vitamin C, a powerful antioxidant that improves circulation. Powerful antioxidant, which I mentioned before, to help circulation. Vitamin C. Vitamin C. What kind of dose do they recommend here? Suggested dosage. Is blank to blank. They're recommending 3 to 10,000 milligrams daily. Dosage is everything. Take your vitamin C first. So I take vitamin C while taking vitamin C isn't taking vitamin C. Dosage. There's 2 ways of looking at dosage. 3,000 to 10,000. See, dosage, minimum daily requirement might be 50 milligrams. We're talking about therapeutic dosages. So 3,000 to 10,000 milligrams a day. Now, you can get it certainly from taking the pills, but you can also be eating oranges, take lemons, many things you could do. Now, so the dosage, we got the dosage in there also, 3,000 to 10,000 milligrams. Now here's my old friend, Acetyl L-Carnitine. Slows retardation of memory and reduces the production of free radicals. So we go Acetyl L-Carnitine. Slows memory loss and neutralizes free radicals. So the answer is 4, acetyl L-carnitine, which I was mentioning to you earlier. Acetyl L-carnitine. Okay, there's another room here, number 5. Here's one that many people have heard of. You can buy it at most drugstores, health food stores. Ginkgo Biloba. One that I know of that I don't see in the literature I'm going to be talking about today is vinpocetine. Vinpocetine helps also. But here I mentioned Ginkgo Biloba has been attracting attention from researchers because of its ability to increase blood flow to the brain and central nervous system. Turns out the blood is one of the things it does. So we're going to go here 5. Ginkgo Biloba helps memory. I think even the lay public, most people, I've heard of that before too, so that's not really totally new to me. Ginkgo Biloba. Now we go to some of the other pages here. Now it says here, eat more blueberries Some researchers believe that the flavonoids found in these foods may aid in memory retention. So we can go eat blueberries. So I'm going to put down 6 blueberries. Now you can get them fresh. Sometimes they're in season, out of season. When it's out of season, they bring it in from all over the world. So it can be out of season in California, man, ship it in from Mexico or Peru. You can get them most of the year. Or you get frozen ones where they don't add sugar, where you're getting the blueberries that they've retained a lot of the antioxidants. So I'm going to go through these. I'll come to number 6. Promotes good circulation to the brain. I don't remember what we're talking about. Oh, niacin. Yeah, niacin does. Vitamin C. Is that the one I had? Yeah, vitamin C helps. It's an antioxidant to help circulation. So suggested dosage is 3,000 to 10,000 milligrams. I didn't know that before. Slows memory loss. Acetyl L-Carnitine slows memory loss, yeah. Blank helps memory. What is that? Oh, Ginkgo Biloba. That's the big one. Ginkgo Biloba, and eat blueberries. I got that. So a couple of them I didn't know about. I forgot what was in there. Niacin promotes good circulation in the brain. Ginkgo Biloba helps memory. So now I've got those. I didn't get it the first time around. So now if I was to talk to you about it, I'm going to say if you want to help your overall health, help your memory, eat blueberries, have garlic. Ginkgo Biloba is known to thin out the blood and facilitate circulation to the brain. You want to take vitamin C, 3,000 to 10,000 milligrams. And this also strengthens the immune system, has many healthy benefits. I don't know if I think I got it all. Yeah, I did. So there's 3 cards that we've got there. Now, I'm going to demonstrate this with health material, then I'm going to go to some political material, then some religious material. I want to demonstrate it with a wide range of knowledge. And I know one thing, I'll bet you're learning some of this, is just watching me do this. And you're not even as active as I am writing it down and going through it. You're probably learning things just watching this. It's painstaking. You sit there and really get into it. Look, if a person has a problem focusing, you stay focused. It keeps you focused. You're writing it, you're putting a blank. Then when you're going through it, you got to fill the blank in. Keeps you active, as opposed to just reading it and hoping you remember it. You become active. You become active writing it down, active of filling in the blanks. Now I'm going to go through these 3 cards. I think I'll make one more card. Just a couple last facts here. Yeah. Some medications, such as beta blockers for blood pressure, as well as some prescribed for anxiety, interfere with memory. So that's going to be in this. Okay, 1 beta blocker, which I'm on, by the way. I don't know if it's hurting. It might. So it's always good if you're on medications to read the side effects. If you find you want to be concentrating, and say, gee, maybe I need to change my medication. I'm having a lot of problem with my memory. Maybe if I went to a different type of beta blocker, like I'm on a Tenolol, maybe they need to go to a different one. So when you're on a medication, you have other options. So that one is certain medications, such as beta blockers, can interfere with memory. That's one of them. Now I'm going to go through them again. Blank promotes circulation to the brain. Forgot what it is. Oh, niacin. I'm just doing niacin. Vitamin C is a good antioxidant to help the circulation. Suggested dosage, 3 to 10,000 milligrams. I just did this. Slows memory loss. Acetyl L-Carnitine. Blank helps memory. Ginkgo Biloba. Eat blueberries. I just did that one. Okay, the one I didn't get to begin with was niacin. I forgot what the first one. Niacin promotes good circulation to the brain. Biggest fear of memory loss when people have memory loss is Alzheimer's. With proper diet, nutrition, and memory use leads to good prognosis. I'm not even looking at the back because I know I got it. Lack of B vitamins can lead to lapses of memory. Lack of amino acids could lead to lapse of memory. I believe that's correct, yeah. Then we have the brain has a blood-brain barrier, and the brain depends on, neurotransmitters. I didn't remember which that was. The brain depends on neurotransmitters. So I'm going to go through it again because I missed a few. Biggest fear of memory loss has to do with Alzheimer's disease. The proper diet, nutrition, and memory use leads to a good prognosis. Lack of B vitamin leads to memory losses. Lack of amino acids leads to memory losses. The brain has a blood-brain barrier, and the brain depends on brain depends on, what did I say there? Neurotransmitters. Yeah, I couldn't remember for a second when that came to neurotransmitters. So I double-checked and I got it. Something can deteriorate memory. Substance abuse. Well, alcoholism and drug addiction can. And free radicals can deteriorate it. Yeah, I got it. Allergies, yeast, and thyroid disorder can hurt the memory. Garlic is a brain cell protector as well as green tea. Omega-3 fatty acid complex deficiency can cause memory loss. And blank helps in production of acetylcarnitine. Blank helps in production of acetylcarnitine. Blank. B5 and B6. B5 and B6. I didn't get it. B5 and B6 helps in production of acetylcarnitine. Some medicines, such as beta blockers, interfere with memory loss. So I'm going to go over this one again, this card, because I missed this one. The last one, number 6. B5 and B6 can help in production of acetylcarnitine. That's one I missed. So now I've got these cards. I mean, I really know. You see me talk about it. You see me go through the memory process. You've seen me screw up a few times. I didn't know it. You probably do it, and I didn't. And you're not even writing it down. So as I say, I'm not the greatest learner. I'm not the worst. There was my fallibility in getting it. But then you saw me take the knowledge, integrate it, or I can use it and integrate it into a whole thing and talk to you about it. Now, that's great. Now we go to another stage, what you want to do with it, okay? Before you go to sleep at night, you really want to retain this, you review it. You go, let's see, B5 and B6, I need acetylcarnitine, eat blueberries and garlic. You want to have enough amino acids. You want to fight the free radicals with antioxidants. You want to review it as you're going to sleep. Recall. So look how much a part of you recalling it. Then when you first wake up, this is what we really want to learn this stuff. You wake up, you go through the same thing again. You eat blueberries and garlic, B5 and B6, production of acetylcarnitine. The biggest fear is people have with their memory lapses is Alzheimer's disease, but the proper nutrition, exercise, diet, and memory use increases the prognosis. So you wake up, you start reviewing this. So it becomes a part of you. There's an essay test, boom, it's all there because it's part of you. See, there's a difference between recall and recognition. See, if you give me a multiple choice test, you recognize this. Well, it's not this, I recognize this one. But a recall test, say, what helps with acetylcarnitine? What helps with acetylcholine production? Well, B5 and B6. So that's recall. Okay? Recall. Now, when you have that kind of recall, if you have to write an essay, you have to give a lecture, it's just part of you. You saw it just flow out of me and talking to you, just learning this stuff, right? You witnessed it. So then you take a walk. The first few minutes, what I used to do is take a little timer and put it on for 5 minutes. Before I would take a walk, I'd just walk and just review it again. Then after 5 minutes up, I just relax and enjoy the scenery. These are methods I use, the program learning method developed by B.F. Skinner, and I adapted it, and these other methods of review. You got to be constantly reviewing. And then, and then if I sat in a test, if you gave me a test right now, I feel very confident because I was able to go through this and answer everything. I know what I know. If I just read this, I wouldn't be as confident. Okay, and you probably learned it even as well or better than I did. Now, I'm going to open up for any questions or comments before I go to any other type of knowledge that this can be applied to. This was factual material concerning nutritional and physiological information about memory. So the actual material that we had here is actually not only serving as an example of how to learn, but teaching us something at the same time. Dr. Rainwater.
I was noticing on the cards right here, to help yourself, do you make up the question
Yeah.
To the answer, is that what you do? You make up the question?
I was making it right there. Yeah, and the answer's on the back. So I make the question up. Blank, I just took with it. Blank, yeast, stress, and blank disorders can hurt memory. Well, allergies and thyroid disorder. So I just put the blanks in as I'm going along. Just took information. Sometimes I took the sentence as it was written, or I just paraphrased it. Boom. It's better if you paraphrase it. It becomes more yours, but sometimes you're just not in a position to do that. By the way, my brain's getting a little tired. I mean, of course, I'm talking, that adds to it, but, but I'm sitting here. Now, if I was doing it on my own, I'd probably walk around for a while, but I'm here giving a class, so I'm sitting right through it. I'm not used to doing this.
Yeah,
Nancy?
normally I used to use, before I went to sleep, I would read again whatever I was learning, then just think about it, and go to sleep. In the morning, I will remember everything.
See, that works. You review it before you go to sleep. Now, she didn't, without even the program learning. Now, that works. That's good.
It
Now,
doesn't stick too long.
Doesn't stick too long. Exactly. Well, you do this. If you had a test, 2 days later, you may not know it. But if you have these cards, you review it right before the test. And guess what? Say you have a quiz coming up. You take the quiz, but then you have these cards. The finals come. You go through the cards again right before the final. So it has a cumulative effect. Helps with the quiz. Helps with the midterms. And if you need it for the finals, you have it then too. Now, keep in mind, I'm talking about students, but you can be a student wanting to learn material on your own about health, about exercise, about scripture, whatever it is you want to dig into. This really helps you penetrate it, because some of these sentences are just so chock full of knowledge that I really wouldn't be able to carry it. Yes, Angela?
Strange question. Do you think it's easier to remember when you handwrite something as opposed to typing? Because I don't handwrite anymore, I just type.
Typing will work fine. The main thing is you're active. You're actively putting it in. Now, I use these cards, so that works for me, but any adaptation you want to make it, I like it. Turn the card this way. Active. The whole idea, this learning method, is to go from passive to active learning. So whatever way that is for you, that's fine. Yeah, Dr. Rainward.
What about the thought process of knowing the answer and then coming up with the question in your head? In other words, just reversing what you did on the card.
Well, if you have the answer, so let's say I know that acetyl L-Carnitine is good for the circulation of the brain, I probably wouldn't do it. I wouldn't come up with a question because acetyl L-Carnitine is the key thing I want to remember. So I use it for the things that I want to remember. If I already know the answer to my own question, then I don't need to do it. I only use it when it's some specific facts, words, concepts that I need to remember. Again, right now I just demonstrated it here. So now I'm going to switch types of knowledge. I'm just going to do a few of these because our time is running out. So I'm just going to take a few of these right here. The United States' main goal should be to stop the movement from growing. So there's an important concept. So we take a card. Stop terrorist movement from, I'll put down terrorist, from growing. So you want to stop it. For some terrorists, jihad, which is struggle, which has been interpreted by many as struggle against infidels, is just a job. For some, it becomes that. So you go to, so you go, for some terrorists, jihad is just a blank job. Now we have here what's called terrorist prevention programs. We go terrorist prevention programs outside U.S. Important for Americans. So terrorist prevention program. Terrorist prevention program. A number of other countries have used these. For another, terrorist prevention programs presently underway, for example, in the Netherlands, United Kingdom, could be models for at-risk groups in the United States, such as the Somali community in Minnesota. So I put down, so what do I want to remember of that? May need program for Somali community in U.S. So Somali. Okay, so stop terrorist movement from spreading. For some terrorists, jihad is just a job. Terrorist prevention programs necessary in the United States to protect Americans, outside the United States to protect Americans, may need such a program for Somali community in the U.S. I didn't have to look because I know I had it. So it's a concept, another concept, at risk, and then the article's on to talk about, just like you want to prevent gang involvement, you can do the same thing. Certain people are more at risk. Very interesting thing that I remember just reading it was that many of the terrorists don't really know much about Islam. They just a couple of excerpts are taken out and they get carried away with that. They're pretty ignorant. That'd be one of the facts I just remember from reading it. Well, it's been good talking with you, sharing this study. Everybody should know about this method, use this method. With it, if a person's a student, they cannot get less than a B. They will get an A. You can't get less than a B. It's almost impossible. That's the good news for everybody. It's also good for ADHD kids, help them stay focused when they're doing it, way to get focused and a good structure. Well, again, it's been my honor, my privilege to sit here, share this method with you. I hope it's going to help you, your children, and anybody else who wants to learn anything. I'm starting to use it again myself after 35 years. Thank you, those of you in the room, those watching on DVD, and those listening on CD. Thank you.